Welcome back to the 7th segment of my last Remnant 100% completion New Game Plus hard mode run. In this segment we have 10 quests to complete before progressing the story through the Aqueducts. The first of these quests is the only non-fighting quest that I'm going to do today, and that is Emotions here in Royosha. You kick things off by speaking with an NPC named Raphius here in the pub. It's a non-fighting quest, and it does not expire, so it's not like you have to do it right now, but it's a quest I'd like to get out of the way before we progress through the bases in the second half of the game. If you have an item in your inventory at that time, when you complete base 6, you can get a pretty nice large size katana, and so if anything, it makes it worth it to do it early. You do have to have a little bit of cash to complete this quest. You have to have at least 10,000 gold to purchase the Ring of Morning Calm from one of the NPCs. And earlier when we were harvesting Royoshan Steel, we need that as well if you don't want to surrender one of the special items. And so you need 10 pieces of that for one of the NPCs. But at any rate, you kick things off by speaking with Raphius, and he sends you to Baltarosa to speak with an NPC on the second floor named Rain. Rain tells you that he would be willing to reverse the trade if you're able to get the Ring of Morning Calm from Melissa in Bealuk. So with the Ring of Morning Calm in our inventory, we return to Baltarosa to speak with Rain and try to reverse the trade. If you deny his first request, he'll repeat it, but he'll also throw in a tuck, which is a mid-sized sword. If you were to purchase a tuck in Illusion, it costs 12,000 gold, so this is actually a pretty good deal, with the exception being that you had to pay 10,000 gold to buy the ring in the first place. But it is a mid-sized sword that actually requires that your characters be in a focus other than balance. And so if you're playing a low BR game and you're hoping to get it in the hands of David or Emmy, they're not going to take it until they've asked for a focus. Same thing goes with generics, but the only way you can have someone ask for it is if it's in their upgrade tree or if they've already switched focus. But in this case, we'll take it because it is a free weapon. And from here, he sends you on to Illusion to speak with Bosun. So before continuing with the quest here in Illusion, I'm just making a side trip here to show you that the tuck does cost 12,000 gold, and so you're already a little bit ahead in that respect by having obtained one through this quest. But I'm also here to stop at Savan's Components here up the stairs and to the left. What we're looking for actually is beast carapaces, and you can purchase them here for 1,260 gold apiece. We need 6 of them for a guild task. You can obtain them by fighting Nusnackers in Bareka Valtel if you'd like, but I'm not looking to do any excessive fighting, so I'm just going to make the purchase. So Bosun is here in Ganad at the bottom of the stairs and off to the right. If you interact with him, he gives you a couple of offers. in exchange for the information you're looking for. First off, he would take the Ancient Scabbard, but we do not want to give that to him. We need that for the completion of base 6 to get that large-sized katana. You can also give up the Ryotian wine that Rayfius gave you, but I like to hold on to special items for for whatever reason, and so instead I have the Ryotian ore that we harvested during Suito's quest. We got extra just for this purpose, and so for 10 pieces he'll tell you that he did have the map that Rayfius had originally traded, and that he gave it to Alyssa in Bealuk. So we're going to go over to Bealuk, interact with Alyssa, and she'll tell you that the map was junk and she threw it away. You can find it laying on the ground outside of the guild in Bealuk. With that in your inventory, return to Bosun in Illusion for the continuation of this quest. So with the map in your inventory, you could return to Ryotia, speak with Rayfius, and complete the quest. But if you speak with Bosun and then Alyssa, you can get slightly better quest rewards. By speaking with Bosun, he tells you he did not mean to deceive anyone, and so as proof of that, he gives you the Iris Stone, which he obtained in a trade with Alyssa. Now you go back to Bealuk, offer the Iris Stone, and you once more get the Ring of Morning Calm, which you had originally gotten from her. It somehow has come full circle back into her hands. It's an okay accessory. The thing is, it's only Rush will use it. None of your other characters will ask for it, even if they are in Mystic Focus. And so typically I have something better for Rush, but at least you can sell it. With this portion out of the way, though, the quest is over. So we're going to return to Ryotia, speak with Rayfius, and get our final rewards. So I'm saving it here in Baltarosa before I speak with this NPC, the archaeologist, on the second floor of the pub. Speaking with him will initiate the quest The Hero. The Hero and another quest, The War of 1,000 Years, are actually tied together. You can do them independently if you'd like, but if you start one, suspend it by leaving the area, and then start the other one, you'll complete the two of them at the same time. Your rewards will be slightly greater, and you'll also get by with just a single boss fight instead of the two. But in this case, I'm just initiating the first quest and then getting it off my plate, and I'm going to tackle a second quest instead of doing this pair. And the one what I'm going to do actually is Goodbye Sweet Love, which is Paris's second quest. The reason I would like to do Paris's quest first is because it leads down a separate path in the dungeon, and the map of the area is actually found going down that route. And so here we'll return to Baltarossa, speak with Paris, and kick off his quest.
Come on out! Okay, later. Come on out! Okay, later. All right! Awesome!
son of a... I need the other one! The other one!
With that relatively easy boss fight out of the way, we return to Baltarosa, get a reward from Paris, and then move on to initiate the second of the two quests that are tied together, and this is the War of 1,000 Years. And so here at the bottom of the stairs is the conspiracy theory nut. If you've already initiated the hero by speaking with the archaeologist and have suspended it like we did, you can start this one and then complete both of them at the same time. Whisks you off to the Great Subterranean, and once we get there, I show here in the quest menu or log that the other quest, the hero, is currently suspended and that we are working on the War of 1,000 Years. When we're done, they will both be completed at the same time. So in this new area, we're looking for a treasure chest containing the divine statue. When you have that in your inventory, you can use it to power down these stone steels that you find throughout the area. There's 7 total. You can see the little dots on the map to indicate where they can be found, but you have to interact with all 7 in order to remove their power and then cause a teleporter to appear that will allow you to teleport to the island located there in the southwest corner of the map. But before I get that statue, I'm going to knock one thing off of our guild task list. There's actually 2 that we can do here while we're on the quest. And the first one is you have to defeat 6 Floros. Floros are the little dog type enemies running around this area, and so I'm going to initiate a fight with a couple of them here just to knock off that guild task.
Let's do this!
The best defense is a good offense.
What are you looking at?
This is the end! How you like that?
There's still plenty of power left in these old bones.
Alright, up ahead is the treasure chest containing the divine statue, and right next to it is an enemy, the Demon King. They're a common enemy, but since they're in this area and I said we had 2 guild tasks to complete, I'm going to save and off camera keep fighting this enemy until I can capture and split it. It's one of those types. What we're looking for is the Demon King Eye, which just like all the other rare components we've had to capture and split, it's going to take me a few attempts to get. But you need one of those for the completion of a guild task. Once I come back here in just a moment, I'll have that in my inventory. And then with that out of the way, I can return, wander around the map, and interact with all 7 of the steels. So we interacted with all 7 of the steels. They've lost their power, and now a teleporter is available that wasn't previously. But before we interact with that, I'm coming over here to sneak around this Demon King to get at that excavation point. That has the Ous Morsel, which is another opportunity for Mr. Diggs to gain an additional dig. It also restores your digs to full if you had spent any during this trip. So you want to make sure that you swing by and pick that up, because once again, these carry over from playthrough to playthrough, and you can eventually max out Mr. Diggs with 99 digs. And so we've grabbed that. We're going to head on our way, find that teleporter, and finish up this quest. Now, at the very end of this, where there's the boss monster, there's a treasure chest that I'll stop and point out once we reach that area. Unfortunately, you cannot redeem the chest on this trip. You have to make a separate trip to come back here and actually get it. And if you did both of these quests independently, they both end the same, where you take care of the boss fight. The treasure chest is right in front of you, but you're teleported back to town before you can open it. And it's a little frustrating if you're looking to redeem a little treasure. That's what I'm pointing out here. And you do want to come back and grab it, because it contains the Shamshir, along with 10,000 gold. But you need the Shamshir to complete its own guild task. It's a sword that you cannot craft, you have to find, and there's only 3 of them that are within the whole game, so make sure that you don't disassemble it or sell it prior to actually redeeming that guild task. Now with that being said, we have our boss fight, which I had mentioned since we're doing both of them, both of the quests together. One of them is an ally, and this is the first that you actually see this, unless you do the Wanderer quest first. You see that the monster is a slightly different color with its name. There's a yellow background to it, and so if you leave it alone, it will actually fight the Matro Skylo along with you. But you can turn on it, so it's not an official ally, it's more of a neutral enemy. And since I'm feeling fairly tough, I believe I end up taking out both of them in this fight.
Nothing to do but fight now, is there? I know I'm good.
Alright, and with that, both quests are actually completed, both the Hero and the War of 1,000 Years, and I'm going to show it here in the quest log that we've taken care of both of them. And so with that out of the way, I'm going to return to the world map, and then off camera, I'm going to make another dive into the Great Subterranean to obtain that treasure chest that's at the very end. As I mentioned, it contains the Shamshir and 10,000 gold, and you need the Shamshir for its own guild task. And so I'm going to knock that out, and when we get back, we will continue on with the remaining quests by heading to Illusion. So Sneven's quest here is actually pretty simple and pretty quick. You just have to make sure that you link together enough of the Albic Khazitis here in the catacombs to find the white flower seed. If you fight them one at a time, you just get a hint after the battle is over that you can faintly smell the white flower seed. But if you take out, here I link these 3 together, you will find it instantly. I've seen some players travel all the way through the catacombs to the very end and not even find it. And so you want to make sure that you link the 3 groups together, the ones that I showed here in the video, or all 4 in this area if you'd like, and you'll definitely get the white flower seed and complete the quest in a single fight.
Looks like that hurt. Go get him, Tiger! Piece of cake!
I feel stronger than before!
Back in the catacombs for a second time here today. We're going to knock out Ludo Bass quest. This actually involves traveling through an area that was previously inaccessible. So once you enter the main area here, the catacombs, you can take a turn to the left, and the door that was previously blocked is now cleared out. Navigating the area is actually pretty straightforward. The downside is that there's a couple areas with the mist that will slow rush down, and unfortunately there's 3 Khazitis that are located in the mist that most players cannot get around without having to fight. And in this case, in the interest of saving time, I'm just going to fight them. Only twice before have I ever gotten past without actually fighting, and they both take a great deal of patience, and at this point I don't necessarily need to avoid the fights entirely. The first time I was actually just fortunate. They were in the part of the room where they didn't see me and never turned around while I just walked on through. But the second time, I ended up setting the controller down for about a half an hour outside the room. You may have noticed that if you sit idle on a map for an extended period of time, monsters start to become fearful. The aggression icon that's typically over their heads will change to that broken sword looking icon, and they will run away from rush when that's the case. And so that's actually what had happened. But I couldn't tell you for sure just how long you'd have to wait, and I know it's not even guaranteed that they will change, but those are the 2 instances that I made it through without fighting. Today though, I am just going to fight the 3 Khazitis, and then I'll move on from there. But the other thing worth saying is that after we get through this quest, this is another one of those where there's an area with the boss monster at the very end that we'll have to return to. There's a treasure chest that contains the Sylph's Marquee, and that's an item that you need to complete its own guild task. And so again, off camera, I will be coming back here to open that chest, and I'll show that I have done so once that's all said and done. But for now, I'll just wander through the area and comment more once we reach the boss fight.
Come on out! Okay, later. Let's do this!
I know I'm good.
Let's do this!
What are you looking at?
How's that?
Stay
Not
down!
too shabby. Yes!
How you like that? Oh!
Tis just a wisp of a thing.
Watch yourself this time, okay? Sorry! You'll be alright now.
I know I'm good.
See that? I'm constantly growing stronger.
Searching for this. Oh. Oh my.
Come on out! Okay, later.
So this is the final area of the dungeon, and just with one step in, you'll see a little cutscene that used to kind of freak me out when I first played the game. It's of the Soul Eater, but it turns out this boss is really not as challenging as its appearance would have you believe. At this point, our party is so strong that this is going to be almost trivial. But if you're struggling with this, just keep some of your party members back. It does do Bum Rush, which is a move that can hit multiple unions at a time. But when you've started to inflict enough damage on it, it actually tries to heal itself. And so by that point, you're pretty much in the clear. Again, this is only going to take us a turn or two to get through, and then you're instantly teleported back to the pub. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to make an off-camera trip through here to open the treasure chest in this room and obtain the Sylph's Marquee for its own guild task.
I still have more powers waiting to be released.
So back from the quick break, I'm showing that I did return to the catacombs and fetched the Sylph's Marquee. Again, you need that for its own guild task, and so keep that on your list of components to not sell. Moving on though, we're returning to Baltarosa. Next up is Blooming Flower, Singing Bird, which is the Hana Hina quest. Here you return to the castle. You're looking for Hina. This one's a little different in that you deal with the boss fight, if you want to call it a boss fight, first. She's surrounded by a bunch of landworms. But after that, you actually have to go scavenger hunting for the item that she lost, which is the tarnished earring. And so we will obtain the key that's located on the ground next to her, and then make our way through the area, unlocking some previously inaccessible areas. Again, just to find that item, return to her, and the quest is very quickly completed.
like that hurt!
Tis just a wisp of a thing.
Phew! Son of a... I need the other one! The other one!
So with the key in our inventory, I'm actually going to head in the opposite direction than what the quest requires. The map of the area is actually off on the western side of the castle, and so I'm going to sprint over there, open up that area first, do a little bit of treasure hunting, grab our map, and then make our way back to the eastern side, which is actually where the quest is completed. All right, just to explain what's being shown here is I realized that I had some land insecta talents in my inventory that I had not flagged to retain, and so I'm just rifling through my list to find them. There's an area later where you can obtain these, and you actually need 10 total. You need 4 land insecta talents for its own guild task, and then another 6 of them for the Mermaid's Malice upgrades. It's not really that important that you identify it early, because you're going to get more than you can carry of land insecta talents if you do the Wisdom's Echo grind. But again, I had noticed that I had them in the inventory and just wanted to flag them as such, and so that's what you're witnessing here.
Come on out! Okay, later.
So up ahead we have the key item on the floor, the Tarnished Earring, and once you pick this up you just return it to Hinna and the quest will end. There's also a treasure chest here that I figured I may as well comment on because a lot of players may be confused as to who this even belongs to, but the Rose Thorn is a small-sized Khajiit specific katana, and the only character that's going to take that is Westa, which is a generic NPC that you hire in Ryohsha. So if you're carrying that around and you're waiting for someone to give it to, that's who will take it, and it's actually fairly unlikely that you're even going to hire them. Most players tend to pass on him, but again, in case you're wondering who it belongs to, that's who the Rose Thorn goes to.
Come on out! Okay, later.
So as the quest wraps up, I'm going to point out that we went up one more BR during this quest, and with our new BR reached, we have our first interaction where a unique party member is going to ask to learn a new skill. Every unique member will ask to learn one new mystic skill and one new item skill, and they're only going to ask once, and so unless you're playing the 360 version, you may as well say yes, because in all other versions you can turn off the skills if you don't want them to be used. Balson here asked to learn remedies, and of course I said yes, but the downside is that when they add the new skill, it's at its most basic level, and so he only has Restore 1, but I will take plenty of time to develop that, as since he's a guardian is going to need to do quite a bit of healing. I'm going to at least get him up to Revitalize in short order to make that skill set all the more worth it. With that out of the way though, we're returning to Baaluk, and we're going to interact here with Young to start the losing game. This is another simple quest if you know what you're looking for. If you're a first-time player, you may not. You're looking to go to the Great Sand Sea where it instantly teleports you to, and you're looking to fight Grand Beetles. And one of the most common things that I see a newer player do is to not realize what it is they're actually fighting. And what I mean by that is you can wander through the larger area of the Great Sand Sea looking for a Grand Beetle, and see a large beetle type character, but if it's the purple colored ones, those are actually terrapests, and those are not what you're looking for in order to obtain the blood-soaked sword that he sent you to find. If you're not looking for spoilers, you might want to skip this quest, since I head right on over to the single Grand Beetle that has it. And it is always the same Grand Beetle, but otherwise, when you finally do find it, after taking it down in a fight, you're returned to town with the item.
Let's do this!
So our 9th quest here of the day is the Wanderer, and it is the last of the quests that pertain to the members of the Seven. When you complete this quest, you get the final Salia, which we will want for the Fiery Revolt. There were 9 of them to collect total, and this quest has the 9th. The quest itself, though, is pretty straightforward. You're going to wander through Lava Fender, and almost immediately you'll encounter a pair of bandits that indicates the path that you want to travel down to continue with these mini-boss fights. There's 4 bandit fights in total. The first 2 are separate, where you can save after each fight, but the last 2 happen one right after another without the opportunity to save. Just like with the hero in the War of a Thousand Years, though, the very final bandit fight includes Milton, who joins as not quite a guest unit. He's another one of those neutral type units that he'll leave you alone if you leave him alone. And so with that fight, since Milton can be kind of dangerous, I'm not going to turn against him. I'm just going to take on the bandits, and after they're taken care of, the fight ends, and with a little cutscene, the quest ends.
Come on out! Okay, later.
looking at? Like that!
How you like that?
Yeah!
All right! Piece of cake!
I feel stronger than before! What are you looking at?
I know I'm good. What are you looking at?
There's still plenty of power left in these old bones.
Alright, to kick off our final quest, which is the Fiery Revolt, we have to speak to this NPC in the Ryohsha pub. Just like Into the Abyss required that we speak with him first, we've got to speak with him here before we can speak with Priam in the castle. I'm showing here really quickly that I've got all 9 of the Salia, so as soon as you interact with Priam, you're teleported back to Lava Fender and immediately into a conversation with the Flame Guardian. She will take all of the Salia and create 3 pieces of equipment from them. You do get the opportunity to equip them if you'd like, and then instantly the boss fight begins. Of course, before we take on the Fiery Revolt, where Ryohsha as safety hangs in the balance of our actions, we may as well get sidetracked and run back to Athlum. One thing I meant to point out a long time back is that the NPC that previously blocked this area is now stepped aside after the cutscene with Emma and the Conqueror, and we've picked up the Belt of Remembrance. And once again, it's another one of those remembrance items necessary for the completion of Amnesia in Baltarosa. But I kept forgetting to go back and grab this, and I figured, well, now is as good a time as any. I'm also going to take this opportunity, since I'm in town, to cash in on any completed guild tasks. But once that is taken care of, we'll return to Ryohsha and wrap up the Fiery Revolt.
What are you looking at? Thank you, kind.
Really now.
The Order of
Size
Malvina
isn't
will not
everything.
fall easily.
All right now?
Son of a... I need the other one! The other one!
Hope it looks all right.
Alright, so if you've been following along, that marks the end of all of the missable quests, and then some actually. We did a couple extra quests that are not missable. But before you move on with the Aqueducts, it's highly recommended that you take a look at your quest log if you're trying to 100% the game, just to make sure that you have not missed anything that does expire. And also, before you move on to the Aqueducts, you certainly want to refill on your herbs or healing components, including revive. After the boss fights within, you are given a couple generous resupplies of herbs, but if you have any doubt whatsoever, take the time to harvest a little bit of extra cash and fill up on those healing and revive components before you continue. We're going to end this segment just outside the Aqueducts, and the next one will have us wrapping up the 3 boss fights within, plus a little bit beyond once we kick off the second half of the game.